It's coming. That sunrise is coming, and I want to share her with you. Amazing. So I'm doing another live. Um, oh wow, it's a beautiful, beautiful morning. It's 6:03 a.m. here. Probably sometime after 11 for you. I think this is this is a more sane time for me to do lives. Um, but I wanted to do this live to, share with people some of the ideas and the things that I'm doing concerning CMOS and how it can be beneficial from a business perspective, right? But it's too early in the morning to talk about business. My mornings are reserved for meditation, it's reserved for reflection. It's the time that I use to connect with God, my spirit, the ancestor, um, who who guides and protects us. And let's be real, we're not doing this all by ourselves. We have our ancestors and our protectors and God that does take care of us and look out for us. You know, I had a conversation yesterday with Jackson concerning faith, and I told him that I use my faith or the past evidence of how faith has been exercised in my life as currency. Yes, that's what I said. I use the fact that some incredible, impossible things happened in my life as uh, as currency to say God has this when I don't. Uh, the spirits have it when I don't. And what do I mean by that? I mean that there are things, every single one of us living and breathing right now, you came into the world naked. You had needs on the day that you arrived here. Your mama had needs before you even arrived here, right? But all your needs were met, right? There's a song, Jehovah Jireh, my provider, his grace is sufficient for me. The Lord shall supply all my needs according to his riches and glory, right? And what baffles me is that there are people who are Christian who go to church every single Sunday, sometimes 3 times a week, right? But their level of faith in God or faith in themselves is so small and so diminished, yet you have never been hungry. You have never had a need that was never met, right? And so this idea of being fearful even in the times of crazy times, i cannot I cannot allow myself that kind of fear, because every time I hold on to fear, it is saying that I do not believe in the miracles that has happened in my life. It is saying I don't believe in God. That is what fear says. Fear says that despite God taking you from the womb, naked, without clothes, without pockets, without nothing, and putting you in a position where you can take care of yourself, where you can finance yourself, where you have children that you take care of, where you have responsibilities that you take care of, where you're provided for and fed and sheltered. You are saying every time you introduce fear in your mind, you are saying that that didn't happen. Okay? And so for me to to be able to achieve things to the next level, I have a kind of faith that only women who have children understand. Okay? I didn't say no, I said understand. because when a woman is having a child, we don't know anything. We don't know whether that child is going to be healthy. We don't know if we're going to pass the labor and delivery. We don't know how we're going to feed this child. 99.9% of us on this planet were unplanned pregnancies, even in marriage. 99.9 of us, okay? And, and when your mother has you, delivers you, she don't know nothing about your college. She don't know how she gonna pay for all of that, but she has faith. She has faith that no God, no creator is going to give her a beautiful, healthy baby and not help her to provide and not provide for her. Okay. uh, African Americans have a saying. They say, "Daddy's, mommy's baby, daddy's maybe," right? And we have another saying similar to that in Jamaica, but it can't come to my mind right now. But that saying is pretty much says that a father can always leave. A father can always leave, but mommy, you have to stay. You have to stay and you have to battle that out, whether it is good, whether it is bad, whatever the situation is, you have to provide, you have to ensure that that child is going to be fed. And some things, there are just certain things that only God can do. And it is not up to you. Your only job is to have faith. And I use my faith and my past experiences by things that happened that were miracles in my life. And every single one of us have these miracles. All of us, every single one of us. The fact that we're even here has miracles happening in our life, right? And the fact that these things happen in your life, you have to lean onto that as your faith. You have to lean onto that when you're trying to achieve something. You have to lean onto that when you're trying to get to the next level. So what does that have to do with this CMOS business? Everything, because I had an idea in my mind. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna start this company, and we have this super magnificent CMOS, right? It's great. And that I had to do a lot of administrative hoops and jump through a lot of Tanzanian, third world, African hoops of fire to achieve the documentation that I needed in order to bring that CMOS to market. It put me in a position where the other stakeholders who had invested heavily in uh, making CMOS a resilient source of a source of income for communities in poverty. And so, solving the problem of how to help these farmers was a very, very, very big task. It was a huge task because there are many, many different ways that you could do it. One is go and see if you can get an international, a major corporation, a major international buyer who is willing to take them on as their contractor, right? And so we would oversee the farms and we could purchase it and take it to them. But what I found is that the international farmer community, the international buyers, they have options. They have the Philippines, they have Indonesia, and what they do is they control the price of the CMOS in the market. So the farmers are in the position that they have always been in for the last 15 years. And hi, Jaman, how are you? Yeah, and when I went out and spent the money and traveled the entire coastal region, I was upset. I was upset because I too come from a third world country. I too am a woman. I too am a Black woman, and I too come from a family of farmers. So there is no way that I was also going to get involved in the industry and come and exploit these farmers the way how other people were exploiting them. There was no way I was going to come and say, okay, I'm going to buy it for this. store it and sell it for that and don't reinvest in the community. And, you know, there is no guarantee of reward at the end of that kind of vision. There is no guarantee when you're in business or when you have something on you to say, okay, something, a calling on your life to say, okay, I'm going to make this I'm going to make a difference. I'm going to make a change. There is no guarantee whatsoever that you are going to make that change. And you can waste a whole lot of time, and you can lose your faith, and you can lose your vision, and you can lose your direction if you do not if you don't see results happening. And as a third world country, I'm telling you, this place ain't no joke. You can look at the other YouTubers and they will tell you this is no damn joke. This Tanzania is something else. Right? But at the end of the day, there is always a way, and you have to continue to work on your mission, right? So I made it my mission, even though we have our own wild sea moss. We collect our own wild sea moss. We package our own wild sea moss. We have a space that we do events. We have all different kinds of things. And I put the brakes on it and I said, whoa, 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 whoa. We are the only company on mainland Tanzania who has an export license for sea moss, for seaweed. We're the only company on mainland Tanzania who holds an export license exporting to the United States. We're the first company in Tanzania, on mainland Tanzania, to hold this collection, this special collections license. So, you know, for when we got here, when we got to this new plateau after climbing up the mountain, when we got to this new plateau, to this new place, and I could climb up the mountain and I can look and I can see the position that I was in after that wicked climb, I realized that I was not put in this position to just, okay, we have this company, we're minding our own business and we make ourselves rich and to hell with everybody else. I was put in this position to pull up the farmers, and that is exactly what the Ministry of Fisheries said to me, that they are hoping that I can help the farmers. So, to he who much is given, much is required. I could not, in any good conscience, know that they made certain exceptions and they bent over backwards to make sure that I held the license. They bent over backwards to make sure that we got what we were supposed to get when we got it. And I was bitterly complaining about how long it took without knowing that some people have been waiting for 9 months for the same thing. Tanzanian companies have been waiting, not the same thing as in a seaweed license, export license, but the export license in general is ridiculous. It is ridiculous. And through some powers of fate, we were able to achieve this in what I now know is a short time. I didn't know it was a short time. All I know is I just didn't have any time for the foolishness, and I was pushing and pushing and pushing until we received what we needed to receive, right? So when I got to this place at the mountain, just like how when I got to this place, this building, when I got to this house, I had no intention of saying, okay, this is mine. No, I wanted this place for us, for knowing what I knew was happening in the world at the time. It was beckoned to me to make this a space for the diaspora, those who would want to come to join us, to come on the African continent. I had a house already. I had my own everything going already. I could have taken my resources and bought a car. I did not have a car for all this time I was in Tanzania until after this was finished. I put every single cent, I put everything in it. You know, I put my grant from my filmmaking budget in it. So, but when I got it, that is what I saw. And so when I got this license, what I saw was the farmers, and I had to see things in a different way. I had to see myself, I had to see the opportunity in a completely different way than the way I was looking at it before getting it. So I had to go to the villages. The villages are about 9 hours away. 9 hours away, and then you take a boat. And for Jackson, that is no easy feat. And so we had to go to like 2 or 3 different villages to see, to understand, to realize what was happening. So people come because Zanzibar, and I'm going to talk to this very clearly about, because this is a it's a public secret. Okay, Zanzibar has a lot of seaweed, sea moss. Yes, we know this. But what other people do not know is that Zanzibar sea moss suffers from ice disease, and you can look this up online. Zanzibar sea moss, because of how they raise the sea moss, it they have to now go out in deeper waters to plant the sea moss. And most 99% of farmers, sea moss farmers, are, I'm calling it sea moss because it is the same species by which African Americans consume, and which we Caribbean people consume as Irish moss. So I'm going to refer to it as sea moss, as some sea moss or seaweed sometime. Excuse me. So in order for them to farm, they have to get in boats. And these are women who they're accustomed to, oh, I'm just going to go out to the shore right here in front of my house, and I'm going to farm the sea moss, and I'm going to check on it, and then I'm going to go see about these kids, right? Or I'm going to go see about my husband. I'm going to go see about the yard. I'm going to go pray. I'm going to go do what I need to do with the rest of my life. And when I come in the evening, I'm going to check on it. I'm going to take up some. I'm going to dry it. Most of the farmers are women, and most of the women do not want to get on boats and go all the way out into the middle of the ocean, not only because of the fear of how far, is the other fact they cannot swim. And even that they've learned to swim, it takes up too much of their time to sail out in a boat and sail all the way back. So what is the solution to the problem? The solution to the problem is many people do not know that the source of sea moss in Zanzibar comes from mainland Tanzania. They don't know that. There are a lot of little outer islands and outlying islands on the coast of mainland Tanzania that people live, fishing villages that have become communities, and the women out there farm. And they farm seaweed. They're the largest producers of seaweed in East Africa. But people don't know that because they don't really have access to transportation. They don't have access to internet. They don't have access to a lot of things that puts them out there. So when you see the sea moss, yes, sea moss is grown in Zanzibar, and it's grown in Pemba. But to the level that the international market needs sea moss in order for them to survive, and I'm going to get into that some more too. I'm going to turn here because that sound you hear is a boat. There is a boat on the water. It's somewhere out there. Oh, there it is. I'll turn this way. So, okay. Yeah, because I'm getting a glare. Yeah. So, so at the level of which, okay, so let's say, for example, we can say, okay, I'm trying to find an analogy for you. Let's say, for example, all the sugarcane burnt down on an island, right? All the sugarcane burnt down. But somehow the sugarcane, this island continues to export more sugarcane than they have ever done. Isn't that suspicious to you? Right? Thank you. Yes. Isn't that suspicious to you? So if you go back and you look at the documentation, and then I found partners and I found the government who could tell me, who told me exactly what is happening, where it's coming from, how it's coming, and what to do and how to do it. So I spent the summer racking my brain and working with major corporations in Europe to try to get contracts for the CMOS. We had something working against us called we had inflation. We have the war in Russia. Every time we thought we were close to something, we weren't even in the same ballpark, because there were so many issues to the logistics. The fact that they're down there way out in the middle of nowhere to get it, and it incurs an additional cost. But the good thing is we have the space to answer some of the questions as far as the logistics and the processing to get it on a container and get it up on out of here. And I know there is a way of how I could sell more CMOS to the United States, to the #1 consumer, but I did not create the way yet. I didn't create the way because we didn't have all of the contracts that we needed as far as a logistics partner and relationships and the technology that goes along with it. So there are many, many pieces to this puzzle. So this is how I moved from, or not moved. I didn't move. I'm still selling our product, and it's, we can sell a different product than what other people are consuming. So it is not a competition for me, or I'm not necessarily creating competition for myself. This company alone cannot feed the entire seaweed industry. But what this company can do is change the industry. And what we can do is affect the industry in a way. And what we can do is link the #1 consumer to the #1 producer. So I found myself in a position where knowing the product, understanding the product, using the product, and knowing how we consume the product, I had to go and do some research to find out where is all this CMOS coming from. And a lot of you are not going to like what I have to say, and so I'm not going to say any more until we have the meeting, right? Yes. Yes, Jaman said creating a supply chain in Africa is not easy. You need some rich black dollars to get things done. This is true. This is true. Our faith. That's how I started the conversation. Our faith. I know that whoever or whatever spirit of the universe aligned for me to be here and aligned for me to see this CMOS and decide that this is going to be my business. I haven't done anything else. I have not done anything else. I have not edited anybody's film. I haven't done anything else. I haven't, we've rented, we've done like events, but for me, taking away to say, okay, I'm doing something else, or, I had to kiss all of my career and everything else goodbye. I said, this is what I'm going to do because it is something that I know and I believe in and I could be an advocate for. When I found out what all the details behind what was happening in CMOS in Tanzania, and then I have the support of major NGOs and major organizations who are partnering with us, who are putting us in the position that we can also affect change. And the way I was going about it was saying, okay, this is simple. Let me just tie this up in a contract for a major producer. And I'm going to explain some more to you. This CMOS that y'all are using, that you're using for health, and we use it for COVID, to combat COVID, and we use it, to make gels, and we're using it to heal and take care of ourselves and control our weight. Let me tell you something about the sea moss. This sea moss here that is coming from here in Tanzania, it is used in every single thing. It is used in shampoo, conditioner, lotions, ketchup, soap, you name it, it is in it. It is in it. This same species is in that. Okay, and it's warm water. And if you look up the term hydrocolloid, HYDROCOLLOID, hydrocolloid. Hydrocolloids are what the ingredient industry uses to make smoothness, to make paste, to make thickness of things luxurious and silky, and they cannot produce that themselves. They cannot produce. It's called a warm water species. So it's a warm water species that grows here. It cannot grow in Europe. It cannot grow in the deep cold waters of the Atlantic. It cannot grow anywhere else except for maybe along these border countries of the Indian Ocean. So you have Tanzania, Madagascar, the Philippines, Indonesia, India, those countries that are around this rim. That is where you can get this warm water species to grow. And that is where you can get this species. Yes. Yes, Nikki, you do try it. It is very good for you. But I'm bringing people into this industry so they can understand that this is a multi-billion-dollar industry. Now, seaweed alone as an industry is valued at 15 billion US dollar. The US market is valued at 55 million US dollars, and it has a compounded annual growth of 8.7. Let's just call it 9%. So by 2024, this industry is going to be valued at over 29 billion US dollars, and the US market is growing. And the reason why I'm getting into all of that with you is so that you can understand that this is something that is going up. It is not something that is going down. This is not something that is going to disappear, right? And so for me, what I see as the next steps in the industry is processing. So I reached out to some major financial companies and some major players to say, listen, we need to build a processing facility, because the issue that we're having here is we're waiting for those folks, right? The raw seaweed industry alone is valued at 15 billion US dollars, right? The product that you get from the seaweed, from the sea moss, the products that we get from it, that is, I think, overall almost $1 billion in its own right. And it is only controlled by about 7 major corporations. And where are they getting it from? Right here. They're getting it from here. That is where they're getting it from. And when I found out about how this was working, I was lit. And I still am lit. I still am lit because, like I said many times before, I come from a family that planted sugarcane, right? And for generations, what the white folk in Europe used to do, they come to Jamaica, they buy the sugar, they get the sugar cane. I would say get, because the what they pay for the sugar cane is dust. They used to take it all the way back to England, refine it, make it into whatever they want, and then make it the special things, and then send it back and sell it back to us. So they have control over the market. So knowing what I knew, I started to look closely. Okay? I started to look closely. So if the refineries, if it's used in everything and it's needed in every industry, and they use it in ice cream, beer fining, They use it in everything. It's in toothpaste, shampoos, lotion, cheese, dairy, meat. In the meat industry, sometimes that marbling that you see inside the meat, after they've cut the meat, they need to process the meat. And to hold the meat together, they are using this thing. And they cannot produce it themselves. So I said to myself, so if it's needed in everything, where are the manufacturers in Africa getting it from? That means if there are no refineries here, they're taking it, refining it, and selling it back to Africa. And I was like, hell no. The Jamaican in me was like, no, we're going to build our own refinery. We're going to build our own refinery and our own processing system, because what I discovered was this same cycle. Okay. And I thought to myself, this is a really big problem, and I'm just one person. Maybe I should just go lie down on the beach and chill and relax. And I couldn't. I couldn't relax. I couldn't I couldn't relax. I was agitated in my mind and in my spirit. And so I started to work on methods of how we can fix this within our limitations. I am just one person, but one person with an idea that I have been able to share with other people, and other people have invested in this company, and they have since come to Tanzania, and they have since been able to see and hear and understand the experiences of what we're doing and where we're going. Yeah, Tanzania hard, true. I'm not gonna lie to you. Tanzania hard, but the pain of the hardship we have passed. The difficult questions that we needed to answer in that first level of confusion is like, oh God, how are we going to do this? Though we're past that place, we're now in a different place. We understand how we're going to do this. We understand what to do. We understand where, when, and how we're going to do it. And we have all of our documentation, and no one can stop us. So we're not in the position anymore of saying, oh, come and buy my liquor, see, must me sell it for 25 kg for this amount of money. No. It's been I have been called on to solve a bigger problem, and this is how we're going to solve the problem. We're going to solve it together. Okay, we're going to solve it together because there is an opportunity to use this same problem as a solution. There are so many people who want to get involved, who want to use the product, but they do not have the resources. They don't have the facilities. They don't have the space. They don't have anything, but they know that they want to be a part of it. So we have about 3 different ways to get involved in the company. At this, so if you're looking to get involved in CMOS, we have 3 different levels. One level is for people who don't want to see it. They don't want to touch it. They don't want to package it. They don't want it they don't want no parts of it. But they would like to see the profits and the results from it, right? There is an option for you. There is an option for the people who we are in it. We process it. We make stuff with it. We sell it in our own packages. We do all kinds of stuff with it. There is an option for that. There is another option for people who I just want it to be out there with my brand on it. Okay? And at those 3 levels, there is an opportunity for people to partake. So before we put this container, the next container out in the water and send it off to New York, there is an opportunity for people to participate in this. And I know that using us, the major consumer of this product attached to the major producer of the product, that we can use our same consumerism and our consumption, our 1.3 trillion US dollar consumption, for the to uplift these communities and to keep their CMOS moving, so we don't have to sit here and beg. We don't have to sit here and wait. We don't have to sit here and buy back the stuff, our own stuff. Okay, so I hope you were able to follow the conversation and what I'm saying, because when I get into the meetings, I probably don't go into the whys and the hows enough. So I will be hosting another meeting Eastern time in the daytime, which is going to be more sane for me. So today is Saturday, and how about 10 a.m. Eastern time? Let's see. Jaman said, how do I get it delivered to Kampala? I'm going to write my email address. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to send out the links for the meeting for this afternoon's meeting. On at gmail.com. Okay. All right, so that is my email address. Email me if there is any part of the industry that you want to get in, that you want to get involved in, that you would like to get involved in. There are many of you all across the continent as well. There are people in Ghana who would like to get some of this CMOS. There are people in Europe who would like to get some of the CMOS. Currently, I've only created contracts with warehouse and logistics partners in the United States. So that is where I am today, but this is not to say I will not be in Europe, the next year or in a few coming weeks, right? And for those of you who are on the continent who would like to get it in the Gambia or who would like to get it in Ghana, please also email me, so that with this African trade, there is a way to move things faster and better within the continent. So I think using us as our own agencies for change is the way to go, right? Oh, that message me. I never see it. Hold on there. Okay. Yeah. So I want you people. Yes. So but still, Jaman, I want people to come to the meetings. You know why? Even though you're not ready for, like, oh, I'm ready right now to do this with you. If you're in Europe or UK or whatever, and you just want to come and find out and get some information going from us, come to the meeting, because what it helps me to do is realize that there is interest, and there is, come and ask your questions. Ask the questions, because when you ask these questions and when you have your curiosity, it helps me to go and build the mousetrap better, because I cannot no business works just by, oh, me alone in the dark by myself. No, sometimes a lot of businesses learn a lot from their customers as well, and understand what the customer is saying, and understand like what direction the customer is going in. So so it's important to come to the meeting, hear what I have to say, see where, ask the questions. Let me provide you the documentation of the things that we're doing and where we are, and show you how it can be profitable for you. And I'm not talking no little money. There is a lot of money to be made if you know how to do it. there is, put it this way, 2.5 ounces of sea moss from questionable, untraceable sources goes for $22 on Amazon. The people who are coming here, who buy up the sea moss from the farmers in the southern coastal districts, those people, they export directly to China or they send it straight to Zanzibar. When it goes to Zanzibar, it's resold again to and coming straight to the African American consumer. I know something about the African American consumer. I know something about the American consumer. Once the American consumer realizes and understands that what they consume brings is basically coming from slave labor or sweatshop labor, that destroys industries. And I did not want to start talking about this before now. The reason being is because I wanted people, and I want people to continue to support the people in Zanzibar, continue to support the buyers and continue to support them. But you should know that where you purchase your product from matters. You should know, you should demand traceability. You need to have traceability in your consumption. Your consumption should not lead to anyone's oppression. You need to know that, okay? And once we start working, how we are working with our international partners, you're going to see and you're going to hear this more and more. Traceability is the most important thing that you can have in the seaweed industry. And why is that? Because of black spots like this. Because there are people who are living in the periphery of society, and they are the most impoverished, and they are the most exploited, right? So how me, I go pick up myself and come all the way from Jamaica by way of America and come help people, more black people exploitation? No, I'm sorry. That I don't work that way. My conscience doesn't work that way. It is a problem that needs to be solved. I was given a lot. I was provided with a lot before I came here, and I believe I was sent here. When I came here, I have already won technology competitions all over the world. When I came here, I had already gone through film school, so I made recordings of the things that I saw, and I sat on them. I have been sitting on things for months because I'm a guest in this country, and I cannot be wild about how I send out information. So I had to sit on things and keep my mouth shut in order to move certain things around on the table, and I'm not talking and making noise and say, oh my God, look at this, how can this happen, look at this, and without a solution. What I'm saying to you is there's a problem, I have a solution, we have a solution, there is a problem, we are the solution. No one is going to come and save us. We can save ourselves. We can combine ourselves, our skills, our energies, and our resources, and we can affect change. That is one. Two is I've also developed a process by which I can attract more African Americans legally to the continent to work anywhere they choose. And it is, and we're backed by a lot of different agencies. I'm not ready to get into that, and I will never get into that on YouTube. I will never share that on YouTube. Okay? So it took me a minute, but I'm here, right? Um, there are many things to discuss. So if you can come to this meeting today, um, at 10 p.m. Eastern, which is sane for me because I've been hosting the meetings at like 2 a.m. Tanzania time, and it's not good for me not to get enough rest and sleep like that. Okay. But if you have questions, write them down. If you, whatever level of the industry you want to get in with quality CMOS, traceable CMOS from the source, this is the place to get it. We have our documentation. A lot of people messaged me that they would like to purchase, they would like to do this earlier on when we just started. And I underestimated the mountain I had to climb to get to the place I needed to be. And we have had our licenses for months now, but we had to work out the logistics. The cost of shipping CMOS to the United States is the same amount as the cost of the product itself. It is expensive and ridiculous. So I had to find a way by which we can bring this quality product to more consumers. And by the by, we will be able to bring more different varieties and not varieties, but more processed products, because I am working with a financial corporation, one of which came here and did our assessment, and that took time. They physically came here, they walked around our property, they came and they did the assessment, they went into our storage. This is an international financial corporation. Um, so we know that we're moving forward as far as what we need to do to get to the next level, which is processing. And processing could be light and it could be major. So we're going to go into the small spaces first. We're certified by the Tanzanian Investment Center, which is another huge, huge things. I say it and it rolls off the tongue, but honey, it was painful to get there. It was painful to get there. And investors in our company, they have the right and the privilege to come and live in Tanzania. But that part of the business, the investment portion, as far as you're an investor and you have stakes on that portion, as far as immigration and whatnot, that is not something we're working on now. What we're working on is moving these containers to the United States and giving you a position of which you can decide what you want to do. So I'm not going to tell you, oh, it's drop shipping. No, there are ways that you can participate in each and every level of how you want to do it. Some people's issues are just storage, purchasing it and getting good pricing on the shipping and the quantity that you need, and storing it. It's one thing to say, oh, I can get it. Where are you going to put it? Where are you going to put it? After we go through our processes of, the health inspection checks and the quality assurances, and we send you, a caseload, where are you going to put it? How are you, do you have someone to package it for you, package it and seal it and batch it and lot it and date it? Do you have that? Or, so there are many things of many moving parts and many questions that people would like to answer that they cannot. There are people who are, especially women, and this is a good business for women, men too, but this, from what I've seen, women are the farmers. The administration portion of things, I am in this position as a woman, and I see that mothers, people who are home or people who don't necessarily have the time to do other things. They have children to chase after. They have a career to chase after. They have other things to chase after that they cannot necessarily focus on anything else. If I was an American, I had this while I was raising JoJo in her early years. This would have been valuable and helpful for me because those early years take up so much time. If you're in a position where you are in a profession that you can necessarily stand there and stir the pot and do everything that you need to do to get to where you want to go, but you would like to do something else, this is an opportunity. So come to the meeting this afternoon. Email me, and I'll email you back the meeting links and information. But I wanted people to be clear about what we're doing, why we're doing it, how we're doing it. My silence and secrecy was a necessity, but we are now in a different place, in a different position. I did a video about a month ago that says reaping season, and I said that you do not get to reaping season until you can bring other people with you. So if you know that many things have been given to you, right, you are required to do many things. If you know that God has acted on your life in a certain way, you must now take that responsibility of acting in other lives a certain way. Okay, so that's me tying up that message what I started with faith. I know that there's no accident to my presence or what I'm doing, and I'm more confident now than ever that I'm being used as a vehicle to move things in a different direction. Okay, so message me today at 10 p.m. Eastern time. Okay, thank you all so much for watching. You have a wonderful day. Bye bye. Yes, okay, bye bye. Bye, guys.